Hi, merry meet. So today I want to discuss the topic that I very often get presented with. How do I know that magic works? And really all I can say is that for me I've seen it work so many times that I have faith that it does. But generally what people want to hear when they ask you that question is, can you summon up a demon so that looks as real as you or me? Can you levitate plates? Can you fart flaming bats that will then fly in formation while singing Handel's Messiah? And no, I can't. Now, do I think such things are possible? Possibly, yeah, I do. I don't think there are distinct limits. However, I think that for a human mystic to reach those levels are very difficult. And as such, I can't prove to you that magic exists, because that's really what the question is. How do you know magic is real? Really means, for most people, when I ask that question, can you prove to me that magic is real? And no, I can't. I do think that if you start to practice it, then you will eventually come to the conclusion yourself that it's real. Because I have had a lot of use of magic. It is, and I've seen it work so many times. But since what you generally do, you work with indirect magic. Like I've had a video, made a video before about the difference between direct and indirect magic. And basically the difference is that direct magic is what you see in fantasy novels. It's the wizard tossing a fireball, summoning a storm, manifesting a dragon, whatever. That's direct magic. It's the wizard wills something and it happens in the world physically, right there and then, poof. That's direct magic. Indirect magic, that's for example doing a spell to attract more friends, and then a month after you did the spell you have met new people and started to form new friendships. Now of course with indirect magic it is a lot more difficult to say conclusively if it was magic that did the change or not. For it could be coincidences. I mean, I did a spell once to get more friends, and a very short time after I'd done the spell, an old friend of mine suddenly bumped into me because he had to go back to get something, so he wasn't supposed to be in that area even. And I met new people. I did make new friends. Could this have happened without me doing the spell? Of course it could. However, when you work with magic, what you notice is that basically very often you get what you want. Too frequently for it to be just coincidences. Now, could this then be tested in a scientific study? I don't know, because how do you make set up an experiment like that? Because most of these things are changes that could have happened anyway. So yeah, I think it's very hard to prove that magic is real. Now I have had a few experiences, and I've also seen direct magic once. And like I've told that story before about my pet mouse that my mother healed, and it was instant. But other than that, I haven't seen direct magic. I have heard a few friends who said they've seen it, but again, if it's not first-hand knowledge, you can't really trust it. And as such, it is very difficult to prove or disprove. What you will also find is very often Magick will give you what you need instead of what you want, or give you what you have asked for, but in a slightly different variation. For example, I think I've told this story too. I'm a gamer, and this was just when the Nintendo GameCube came out, and I couldn't afford to buy it full price, so I bid on a second-hand one on QXL, and I did a spell to win that auction, and I didn't win it, and I got pretty pissed, and I dragged my jacket on, and I marched to the bus station. I took the bus into town to see if the local used game store had it. And lo and behold, when I came in that, I said not an hour before, somebody had come in to deliver a nearly new Nintendo GameCube with the exact same number of games as the one I had bid on, but then I got to pick out the games I wanted, so that I got games I really would enjoy, and I got the machine in a bag in my hand in the store, so I didn't have to wait for it. And of course then I also got with it a warranty that you get when you buy it in stores instead of buying it online. So it was altogether a much better deal for me, and I wouldn't have gotten it if I had won the original machine, and therefore I think that my spell then worked to bring me that console. So yeah, and when you have Magick can work in those ways like that, that makes it very difficult to sort of have a controlled test to see if it works or not. So really, Magick is about fate. And why do I think it works? Because I've seen it work so many times. And of course some will say, but you can't trust what you see, you can't trust anything like that, you can't trust what you feel, hear, and so on. You can only trust what men in white coats tell you. And I'm thinking that if that's how your worldview is, then by all means. But for me, when I have experienced something again and again and again, I begin to trust it. It is how people originally develop knowledge. When you learn that every time you drop a stone, it falls to the ground, you don't really need a scientist to tell you that there is some sort of force that pushes the stone down. And this is when I have done Magick again and again and again and gotten favorable results. I don't really need somebody's permission to believe that there's something in it. Of course some will say, but don't you then just see the positive results and not the bad results? No, because any occultist worth his salt will write down the spells he does and also note down when spells do not work. But like I said, in the most cases when my spells have not worked, they have manifested in some other way. So yeah. But yeah, instead of going off on another rant on Skeptics, I just wanted to basically say how I answer that question of why do I think Magick works? And for me it's observation. I have observed it working for me so many times. Now someone say, but how do you know that it's not just then that you're basically more motivated, that let's say I do a spell to lose weight and suddenly I feel that it is easier to lay off unhealthy food and actually exercising and so on. And then I say, but how do you know it's the Magick that does it, that it isn't just your consciousness or subconsciousness being more motivated? And I said, it might possibly be so. It still means my ritual worked. I can't sit here and guarantee that there is some a mystical force or spirits or anything like that involved. I believe there is, but then we are down to pure straight belief. What I know is that when I do these rituals, usually I get what I ask for. Not always, but usually. And could it be that it's just that it changes my psychology, so that I am more motivated, that I see opportunities where I wouldn't have seen it otherwise, and so on? Yeah, there are a lot of atheists who are also occultists who believe this, see magic as a very useful tool to program their minds, so to speak. And that I think that's a completely valid paradigm. And I don't see that in any way invalidates magic, because it still works. And I guess, to me, that's really what it's about with that question. Does it work or not? Everything else, that's interesting speculation. To me, who is a pretty practical person, I have found that magic works for me. Therefore I use it. And it's like, I heard a story, I don't know if it's true or not, but there was this artist, a painter, and he was really down on the run. He couldn't concentrate, he had no inspiration, he just couldn't paint. So he was considering just giving up that shit and going and getting a proper job. But anyway, this man decided to go to a past life therapist, so regression therapist. And so he did, and the woman told him that you have been this and this famous artist in your past life. And she took him to a museum and showed him all the fantastic art pieces his former life had painted. And suddenly this man was full of inspiration. He began painting again, he sold paintings, all was well and good. And then of course some would say, but how do we know that it wasn't just that he then got inspired because he believed? Do we know that he actually had this past life, that somehow getting into contact with his past life gave him inspiration? What if it was just that it was a pep talk? And I said, does it really matter? Of course you can say that from a theological perspective it matters, and it's a very interesting debate. But on the right practical level, you had an artist, he couldn't paint, he didn't have inspiration, he did this magical act, he had inspiration again. Everything else, that's speculation. So, yeah. So no, when people ask me, how do you know that magic is real? Can you prove it to me? I tell them no. I can't prove it to you. I can give you a tarot reading, and very often they are very specific and so I have convinced a few people with that. I can give you a healing and they feel the warmth streaming from my hands. Some people think, I can do quite a few things like that, which is observable and practical in the here and now. But can I shit flaming bats that sing classical music? No, I can't. So, and basically it's like I tell most people, I can't convince you that magic is real. You can do that. Here's a few good starting books. Start practicing, and then you can figure it out for yourself. Because to me, I think that magic really is a thing that you have to experience. It's very difficult for somebody else to say, this is how magic is, this is magic, this is how it works, this is real, this is so and so and so. Especially since magic is so far from the current accepted mainstream paradigm. I think that the only way to really get a grasp on it and really know if this is something you want to believe in for yourself is to actually start practicing. So, yeah, do I believe magic is real? Yeah, I do. I believe as much that magic is real as I believe this sofa I'm sitting in is real. Do I know that it is mystical? That it isn't just some sort of uh, basically that it affects my mind, or that it uses some sort of natural law or something that hasn't been discovered yet. No, I don't know that. It could be completely natural. I believe it's mystical, but then we're down to belief. What I have observed is that the magical acts I do work for me. And that is enough for me to continue using this very practical tool. And for me, as long as magical act gives result I want, I think that the debate of why is very interesting, and I think that the debate of why can develop you spiritually. But all in all, for all practical purposes, as long as ritual A leads to result B, it's a useful tool, and then it works, and that's enough for me. So yeah, hope you have enjoyed this rant slash little discussion. Have a great day, and blessed be.